Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back, y'all. My name is Danielle. Many of you know me as Elle, and welcome to my spiritual journey. So, this is part two of my intro. Yesterday's video was about me, my early childhood to the point of leaving the church. And so, today I still want to take just a little bit of the church, but then give you some of the reasons. I gave you some of the reasons yesterday of why I was ready to leave the church. And so I'm just going to kind of like reiterate just a few of them, and then we will go to my spiritual journey. Okay. And so remember in my videos, I do try to ask you questions and things like that. So there will be a question come up a little bit later, but before I get there, I want to go back to this church. This was the early 2000s, and this was a different type of church for me because I had been raised to go to Baptist church, and this church said that they were not Baptist, but they were kind of like non-denominational. I had not experienced that kind of church before. My brother had when he was in college, but I had not. And so this was different. And so I joined this church. It seemed nice and warm, but it seemed like it was something different, something different. It was definitely, like I said, it was a mega church. So it was bigger and maybe less people to judge me. Because remember, in all the other churches, single parent, never been married, people were heavily judging me. And it was really rough. I didn't show it. But as I was getting older, it was really getting to me because I couldn't understand why people were judging me based off of being a single parent instead of knowing me, like the core of me, and just been like, oh man, like this lady cool, that kind of stuff, whatever. And so at this church, you join and then you take this test. And this test was to bring about like you answer all these questions and it's like these are going to be your spiritual gifts. And I was like, ooh, I want to do that because in the Bible, like there are so many like things in there. And so I was like, ah man, like there's the story of the little girl, and the little girl was able to tell people's future. Like she was a seer, a fortune teller type of thing, but they were exploiting her. Anyway, so she was in the Bible and she had some magic gifts, and I wanted those magic gifts that she had, and so I wanted those. There were also in the Bible, there were prophets in the Bible, and oh yeah, they could tell you what was going on too. You didn't have to be like right now; they could tell you what was going to happen, and so I really did love that. There were some healers in the Bible. And so, or Jesus was actually a healer too. Jesus was a special kind of healer. Like, dude could take some spit and put it in some mud and put it on something, and you could, he could just say the words, be healed, and you healed. And it's just like those kinds of things. Like, I wanted to be that. Like, there was something in me, y'all. I don't know if it was watching my daughter's Disney movies, but it was something that would just spark. And it's just like, I could do that too. Like I really wanted to do that. Like I wanted to be that magical person. And so, you just Wanda Sykes, she had played the role of somebody, and I can't remember what it is. It was a cartoon, and so it was like they would go to her, and she would be the magic person, and instead of me going to a magic person, I wanted to be the magic person, right? I wanted people to come to me and I'd be like, I got you, I can help you. Or no, you don't need no magic. What you really need to understand is that this right here, you doing this. You need to see things a little bit different. You need to work on your communication skills, all the different things, people are ready to like cast people and do stuff to them. And it's just like, wait, you the problem, not them. And so, yeah, I just wanted to, I always thought that that was cool. And so I take this test, right? Y'all, my number one thing comes back to say that I'm a prophet. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then my number two thing was like a pastor. And I was like, I had been teaching for a really long time. So I was like, I could see how you think or how the results or whatever is going to come back that I could be a pastor because I had been teaching for so many years and teaching adults for so many years. And then, um, outside of doing both of those on the side, I was helping sexually abused women, and so it was just like all these things. It's like, okay, it is what it is. And so they just like, okay, take your results and take them to blah, blah, blah. And so I did not know who any of these people were because I was still new at the church. And so I'm taking my results. And so they're looking and they was like, okay, let's see. Okay, so your first one says is you're supposed to be a prophet. And I was like, yeah. And so they're like, unfortunately, prophets are not a thing anymore. Like they are obsolete. Like that was back in the day. There are no prophets. And I was like, the hell? Why was it so good? Like I didn't say that, but I was mad. I was really mad. I was deflated. And so I was just like upset because like I really did want to be a prophet. I wanted to see into the future. I did. And so I was mad. And so then the next one was pastor. I didn't want to be no pastor. And so they was looking and it was like, so gotta tell ya that pastoring is not for women, it's for men. And I was like, the hell y'all had me take this test for? Like none of my shit. Y'all rejected me. I ain't even hot in this church as a member, and y'all rejecting me and my gifts that I'm bringing to the table. And so I was just like, and so they just had me do some rinky-dink mess. What did I end up doing? I think I ended up like making folders for new members, like making folders, right? Like I'm a Smarticles person, and I got a lot to offer, and y'all had me making folders. Anyway, so that was that, and yeah. Let's go to let's go to the question for the day, y'all. Remember, take this question and think about it yourself as well. I'm going to say the question and I'll give you my answer, but I want you to think about it. Again, this helps you with some steps. You'll see as we get into future videos. Okay, question for the day. What happens when the belief system you grew up with no longer fits who you are? Okay, now this for me was really, really difficult because the belief system, man, everybody was Christian. Everybody was Christian. Like everybody expected you to go to church, all the things, right? Accept Jesus into your heart. We was all baptized when we was little, all the things. And so like to leave that system, that was a core family system, core family belief system. And to leave it, man, it was weird. Um, it was weird. Even though I wasn't in the same state as majority of my family members, it was still some kind of way because, you know, it was you're raising your child, right? And even the way that I raised my child, it wasn't a popular a popular way. So the things and the decisions and the choices that I was making, it was just like this girl is just getting further and further out there. And so I was like, at first, I wasn't telling nobody that I had left the church. And it was a way, I have a cough, y'all. It was a way that I had worded it. English major. It was a way that I had worded it. No, even if I wasn't an English major, um, it was a way that I had worded it so that it was like we did go to church, or maybe I would just say that she went to church or something. But it was just, or maybe I can see me even just having my child answer and tell about her church and what had happened with her at church. That way, it wasn't even about me being or going to church and what my experience was or anything like that. Because I was just done. I was tired. Nobody wanted to talk to me. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't fit like all the things. And then the thing that was really hitting was if I don't go to church and I die, who's going to do the funeral? Because, for all of us, we all go to the church for the funeral. Where am I going to find my friends? Because while I didn't have friends, the ones that would at least talk to me were at the church. And so all the different things, is there really a heaven and a hell? Like, what if they right? What if I'm just feeling out, but they're really right? All the things. And now it's just like, I would take the questions that were left unanswered, but they can't even tell me how to meditate. Why would God have meditate in the Bible if nobody gonna teach us how to meditate? Like I had gone to the King James version. It wasn't a new King James version. It wasn't the new American Standard, like all the different versions that had come out. This was like one of the OG ones, and it was just like, yeah, I'm not. What's going on? What's going on? Y'all got some stuff in here that ain't relating. It ain't working out right. And I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. And so I was just like, My first step, y'all, was to meditate. And I felt like it would be safe to meditate because it's in the Bible to meditate day and night on the scriptures. And so for me to step out of Christianity, like I would still say that I'm Christian, but it's just the word that I would still say. But I was already gone. I had already been gone. Just my child was just going to church, but I had been gone. I had been checked out. And so I was sitting there and I was looking, and this is like back in the day, like internet wasn't really, it wasn't as quick and stuff as it is right now. And so, a lot of times I could easily like go to the library or do like simple searches, but you're not going to come back with a complex result, complex thing of results. And so I was just trying to look up meditation and see what meditation meant. And then, where did meditation originate? And it was still going to the Buddhist. And I was just like, just gonna have to go over to it, see what the Buddhist is talking about. And so then I started reading some books that were Buddhist to see how they meditate, what are the benefits of meditating, like why do you meditate, like all the different things. And it seemed like so overwhelming, like so freaking overwhelming. And so I was just like, oh man, I don't know, yeah. I just don't know. And so I would just sit at home and figure out like, what do I want to do? And so then I was like, I wonder if I can just go back to what I had done before and like read the Bible and see how I felt about the Bible. But even when I read the Bible, like not going to church, not being around the other people who were judging me and doing those things, but when I just would just be at home and read the Bible, it still didn't feel right because that God had let me down so many times, number one. Number two, that God was so freaking judgmental. Like you a jealous God. Like, why would you be jealous when it's not okay for us to be jealous? Like I'm not understanding and just like all the different things and like you killing these people and I'm just confused. I'm just confused and I didn't know what, where, and when. And so I was just like, well, I only have one life to live. And if I have one life to live, I'd rather do what it is that feels right, even though I don't know what feels right. And there's so much out there that is overwhelming. And I'm still scared that maybe they are right because generations of people are doing this. And for me to step out, maybe I'm the one that's in the wrong. Maybe I don't know enough, but I feel like I do. Y'all, I've read the Bible over and over again, done all these things. They don't feel the same things I feel. They don't get stabbed the same way that I do. Like they weren't single parents. Like everybody married in my family anyway. Everybody had married the person that they had their children by, whether it was a man marrying a woman or the woman marrying the man. Everybody was married except for like one person, but that person couldn't get married because the person was already married to somebody else. But you didn't hear from me. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. I'm just saying, like just trying to go through history. Um, and so yeah, it was just like nobody was understanding like how it was to be me and how, you know, yeah, you did have to have thick skin, but under the thick skin, I'm freaking sensitive, right? And it was just like it just doesn't fit. And why can't I just listen to myself and not be in church? Like I just want to be done. I don't want to be around these people. I don't want to hear the same freaking messages over and over and over and over again. And it was just bothersome. It was really just getting to me. Sorry, y'all. I was looking out the window. And so yeah, I left the church, but those were the things that were going through my mind is how do I do it? And so that's how I did it is I told myself that I would still be a Christian in name only, but then step over here and look up what Buddhists were doing. Buddhist Buddhism sounded interesting, but it didn't catch me. Meditation sounded great. And so I wanted to start meditating. And then I just started looking at all these other different religions. Excuse me, looking at all the other different religions. And it's not like it was anything new because in college we were looking at different religions as part of our Western civilization class, I believe. And so, you're used to looking at different religions, but you can still stay firm in your religion while looking at the other religions. And so that's what I was just looking and seeing what, where, and when. And then after a while, there was somebody else that came on TV and they were a non-denominational church, and I started listening to that one, and they were saying how, all these different religions, they fight over this and this and this, when let's just, at the end of the day, there is a God, there is a source. And it's not necessarily the God that you're going to find in the Bible, but then that person will go and read scripture or do a motivational message based off of a scripture. And so it was like you just take away the scripture and listen to the root, and they would just always talk about a source and, like, yeah, just a source, and then things being tied to who we are. And so I was like, huh, that's really different and interesting. And then I just went and I joined. There's this thing. This was way back. Mind Valley. So Mind Valley is done by Vishen Lakhiani. And so I don't know how I came across this. This was before, as y'all know, this is before the days of apps, right? Like there was no app for Mind Valley. You did it by going online. And so I was online and I was just looking and listening and reading and just taking in so much information. And this dude was not a Christian. And not only was he not a Christian, but I couldn't find what he was. Like, he didn't say that he's non-denominational. He didn't say any of that. And I'm looking at the content that is on this website, and I don't remember much, but I couldn't find where people were tied to a religion. This was so freaking crazy. Like, being in the church this entire time, I didn't come across people who were not anything other than in the church. Like, you had to say that you were part of a church. Like, you had to. It was like it nobody wanted who nobody would talk to you if you weren't a part of a church. Like, you would be going straight to hell if you were not a part of a church. So for this man to be out here talking to all this stuff and he's not affiliated with any type of denomination, like nothing, that was crazy. But it was so relaxing, guys. It was so nice because I was like, oh my goodness, I have found my community, right? Like, I needed to leave the church and I just needed to know where to go next because I was so freaking overwhelmed. And so I went over to Mind Valley and I just was like hanging out on that website for a while. Like, it's just like when you back up, and like, I've always had natural hair. I did perm my hair for, like, I was a dancer slash performer, whatever you want to call it, in college. And so to do certain things, like, your hair had to be like, everybody had to wear the same hairstyle. And there were like two, three black girls. And so we had to wear our hair in the same style as like the white girls. And so to get my hair to do what theirs was going to do was easy. The length was there, but the rain, oh no, the rain was not going to, we weren't going to be friends. And so the other black girl was like, you got to get a perm. And I was like, I gotta get a perm because my hair had never been permed before. It never. Like, the most I would do would be like press it with a straightening comb, with a pressing comb. But yeah, so I ended up getting a perm. But then when I wanted to be done with the perm, like, I was just like, when I want to be done with something, I'm not trying to like ease my way out of it. I just cut all my hair off. And so then I started looking at this community, and it was a black community back then, y'all, way back when. It was called naturality.com. And I spent hours a day on naturality.com, and they would tell you how they are growing their hair, different things that they're putting in their hair. Y'all, my face, we shiny, but um, and so yeah, that's how I felt. Like, to have a whole, like, naturality.com was a whole community of Black women doing Black hair. Right. And my hair doesn't always fit under the definition of everybody else's Black hair because the curls can be looser and all the different things. Like, it just is what it is. But to be on mindvalley.com, was the same way that I felt about naturality.com way back then, because I'm like, these are people who are not affiliated with any kind of church. Like, this was so nice. And so that was like something that helped me narrow down. But while it helped me narrow down, I felt so far behind because there is so much information that was out there. And that's still going to be true for anybody today, right now. Your spiritual journey is something where there is a vast amount of information. And that is one of the things that I really love about my spiritual journey. I'm not bound. There is no question that I'm not supposed to ask. If I do ask um, or get stuck on something. It's not that I'm sitting in the wrong space place. It's not about, girl, you got to sit on the other side of the sanctuary. It's not about any of that. It's not something where I'm doing something wrong as much as for me, I would say, hey, am I aligned? Sorry, y'all, my eye itching. For me, it would be like, am I aligned with whatever it is that I'm trying to do? And so with Christianity, when I look back, I wasn't aligned with Christianity. I had definitely, there was a time and a space to me, there was a time and a space for Christianity, but then there was also a time when I definitely outgrew it and I should have left way before I did. So now I'm doing my spiritual journey. Things are great. Those are the two key takeaways that I'm going to tell you is to know in your own heart why it is that you want to make the move outside of whatever belief system it is that is being held um, by your family, and be willing to support yourself. Be the only person that you have to bounce things off of. Fortunately for me, my daughter felt the same way about church, because remember, when she was in first grade, she trying to figure out, well, we going to church. These are the same people that had enslaved our ancestors and forced us into said religion. Like, my daughter was into hair, so she also knew that way back when a lot of Black women lost the art of doing hair. Like, doing hair was a form of art. And it is today as well, but it was a much more intricate form of art. And so it was just like, she's learning these things as early as, elementary school. And so when the question about, going to the same school, I mean, going to the same church, these people took so much away from those who were enslaved. Why would we continue to follow into their steps when back then they didn't have the freedom to say no? Like, it cost them their lives. We have the freedom to say no. We're not saying no, we're willingly going into it. And so, those types of things, all the things was just like, well, okay. And so, once I was outside of religion, and, it started off small first, where it's like, my mother knew that I was no longer going to church. And then she was like, she was fine with it. But then it was like, oh, no, no, don't even call me a Christian. Like, I don't even want to be called a Christian. And so that was a different kind of twang to it, And then I told my brother, and he was just like, wait, what? Um, that's crazy. And here's the other thing. So my father, I always wanted to know like how my father would react, because he and I would chat about church, but before he died, he was like, I got a hold of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And I was like, hold on, bruh, like, you got a hold of the Dead Sea Scrolls? And so he was actively reading through the Dead Sea Scrolls when he died. And I was like, wait, because like in the Bible or somewhere, something like, you're not supposed to add to or take away from the Bible. I got another cough. Excuse me, you're not, that's my chair. You're not supposed to take away or add to the Bible. And so you're supposed to just read the Bible as is. And so for my daddy to get the Dead Sea Scrolls, it was just like, wait, so you believe you feeling some kind of way as well. Like, there's got to be more, there's got some, you feel some kind of way when you start looking for books of the Bible that are not in your Bible, right? You start feeling some kind of way. There's some kind of curiosity that you're trying to get to when you, so I was just like, man, I do really do wonder, like, if my father would have still been alive, like after he's reading the Dead Sea Scrolls, because I feel like he was still going to be itching for something else outside of that, even, and if he would have even stayed in church long after. No, for those of y'all who about to ask, do I think that my father died because he was snooping around outside the Bible? No, he died something completely different. And I do have the ability to speak to my father with him being dead. He's been dead over 20 years. I do have the ability to speak to my father, and that has nothing to do with his death. It has nothing to do with it. So I didn't ask him if that had anything to do with it, but as I was talking, I was like, somebody's probably feeling like that might be part of why he died. I am able to pick up on people's vibes and stuff. And so, yeah, that's crazy. I've never had that come across as a reason that my father potentially died. But whoever's question that is, who's watching this video, that's not that's not how he died, and that's not why he died, and that's not an underlying reason. So yeah, that's weird because yeah, that's never been a thing. But I am able to pick up on different vibes that people may be putting through even though I haven't even uploaded this video yet. So, but once you get into your spirituality enough, you'll be able to see and understand how it is that we can do some of the things that we can do. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think that answered the question, which was again, what happens when the belief system you grew up with no longer fits who you are? And with me, that is something that I still do. I once I left religion, I definitely kept looking at belief systems. Like, why do you use deodorant? Back then, we grew up with using Mitchum, which was an antiperspirant. And so, me even looking at that, I'm like, this is an antiperspirant. Anti means, against or no, or whatever the case is. And perspirant is sweating. But we also know that sweating is a way to get toxins out of our body. So, why would we purposely put on an antiperspirant so that we wouldn't sweat, which would then keep the toxins inside of our body instead of releasing? And I was like, hold on, I don't want to do that. So, when you just started questioning a whole lot more. So, man, I'm telling y'all, once I left the church, I started questioning everything. Toothpaste? Why are we using this kind of toothpaste when it does this, this, this? And I started reading and researching and aluminum. And y'all, I'm already sensitive to aluminum. Like I can't even really touching aluminum foil. It makes my skin feel like I have multiple cuts all over. So to touch aluminum foil is like crazy. But then to have aluminum that's in like some of these toothpastes and deodorants and stuff, and it's just like, oh my goodness. But yeah, you start questioning everything everything. The grease that you put in your hair from way back when, that's mineral oil and clogging pores and stuff. It's just like, wait, what are we doing? And so, yes, I am that person, right? So I do things. I call myself a hippie because I just go against so much that's out there. And yeah, it's fun. It is an incredibly fun journey, and it really fits me a lot more. So to be spiritual is definitely up my alley. Let's see. Um, I think that'll be it for what I do today. One of the beliefs that I did walk away from in the church, I have a couple of beliefs, but one of them that I still do believe is that everything happens for my good. So there's a benefit to everything, and I literally see a benefit in everything. So even being in the church past the amount of time that I was in the church, I still see benefit in it. Um, and just understanding what my boundaries are, when my boundaries, and how to express my boundaries, and like it's a lot, but we'll talk about those in later videos. But one thing I want to ask you is, can you relate to my religious experience or feeling that you no longer align with the belief that you were born into? Comment below and let me know how you feel about that. Because I have come across a lot of people who have some of the same questions, like actively have some of the same questions, doubts, and things, experiences in the church as I did, but they stay. I am not about to make it like to leave the church is easy. It is a thing. But sometimes I think the Aquarius in me is like, okay, so I'm gonna take my time and process this, and it might be a month, and I'm good. Like, get me out of here because y'all don't like me anyway. And so, whereas other people like they can just be like, nah, we just gonna stay here. So let me know. And if there is a way, advice, or anything that you're looking for, holler at me in the comment section. Until then, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will chat with you later. Have a great day. Bye, y'all.